There are no sirens here, no warning signs, no barriers to tell you that you are about to step into danger. The streets are already moving. People are walking to work. Carts roll past. Doors open. Life looks ordinary, busy, familiar, functional. Nothing about this moment tells you that it is unsafe. And that is precisely the problem. Because in London, in the late 19th century, danger does not announce itself. It does not rush toward you. It surrounds you quietly, embedded in the routines of daily life, in the road beneath your feet, in the air you breathe, in the brief contact of a stranger passing by. Sometimes it arrives in ways your body cannot feel yet. That is why people say that 99% of us would not survive a single day here. It sounds exaggerated. It feels dramatic. I thought so too. So instead of repeating the myth, we are going to remove it. Using modern tools, including advanced AI reconstruction, we will look closely at what daily life in London actually was in 1888, not as legend, not as spectacle, but as a system that the human body had to endure hour by hour. Stay close. Pay attention. You won't always see what's coming. This is Whitechapel High Street in the morning. Not a back alley. Not a hidden slum. One of the main arteries of London's East End. Thousands of people pass through it every day. And at first glance, nothing feels unusual. But your body notices before your mind does. The ground is uneven and wet. Not occasionally, constantly. Your shoes soak through early in the day. They do not dry. Neither does your skin. With every step, your feet press into a mixture of mud, waste, and standing water left behind by endless horse traffic. Drainage exists, but it is open, unreliable. Water settles where it should not. You stop thinking about it, because stopping would mean falling behind. Your joints begin to stiffen. Not sharply. Gradually. A dull resistance in the knees, the ankles, the lower back. The body compensates by moving differently, shorter steps. Less balance, less margin for error. Scrapes happen. A shoulder brushes iron. A hand catches rough wood. A stumble breaks skin. You feel it, but only briefly. Because in 1888, medical understanding of infection is incomplete. There are no antibiotics. Germ theory is only beginning to circulate. Small wounds do not close cleanly in these conditions. They linger. They swell. They are ignored. Not because people are careless, but because the body learns a new rule. Pain that does not stop you from walking is pain that can be postponed. Skin stays damp for hours. Cold settles in. The body does not recover between exposures, it adapts. But adaptation here does not mean becoming stronger. It means lowering the threshold of what is considered safe. Inflammation becomes normal. Fatigue becomes background noise. The body learns to carry damage forward instead of resolving it. This is how Whitechapel works. The street does not feel dangerous. It functions. Goods move. Wages are earned. People arrive at work. And all the while, the body is being trained step by step to accept conditions that quietly shorten its lifespan. This is the street people trust enough to walk through every morning. And that trust is what makes it effective. From Whitechapel, the walk to Spitalfields is short. Only a few minutes. But the shift is immediate. The pace slows. People stop passing through the city and begin moving within it. This is where food is bought. Spitalfields Market in 1888 is not a place of comfort or choice. It is functional. Open-air stalls. No refrigeration. No packaging. Food sits exposed for hours, sometimes days, handled again and again as it waits to sell. Meat. Bread. Vegetables. Milk. Inspection technically exists, but enforcement is inconsistent. Adulteration is common and widely understood. Milk is diluted with water. Bread is bulked out with alum or chalk to improve weight and appearance. Spoiled meat is trimmed and sold cheaply before it draws attention. None of this is hidden. Buyers know it. Sellers know they know it. And the market continues. Because hunger changes how decisions are made. Most people here do not choose based on trust. They choose based on price. A cheaper loaf feeds a family today. Worrying about what it contains can wait. This is not indifference. It is postponement. You are not choosing food. You are choosing today instead of tomorrow. It is not that people do not care about their health. It is that they cannot afford to care in advance. When illness follows, it rarely points back to the stall where the food was bought. The effects arrive slowly. A weakened stomach. Repeated bouts of sickness. Energy that does not fully return. Poor nutrition erodes the immune system over time. Recovery is partial at best. In working districts, being unwell is not an exception, it is expected. Rest is a luxury. Missing work means losing wages. Losing wages means hunger again. This is how the market reshapes the body quietly. Not through a single bad meal, but through accumulation. Pay attention here. This is where survival decisions are made without anyone calling them that. By the time people leave Spitalfields, they are fed. But they are also slightly weaker than before. Not enough to stop walking. Not enough to raise alarm. Just enough to matter later. And as the day continues, the city will find new ways to make use of that. By nightfall in 1888, thousands in London's East End are no longer looking for opportunity. They are looking for somewhere to stop moving. For many, that place is a common lodging house. These buildings are scattered throughout Whitechapel. A few pennies buy a bed for the night. On paper, they are regulated. In practice, demand overwhelms control. Beds are packed tightly together. Air circulates poorly. Moisture lingers. The walls sweat. The bedding never fully dries. People sleep fully clothed, not out of habit, but necessity. Undressing would mean direct contact with fabric already saturated by countless bodies before them. Coughing fills the room. Skin irritations are common. Lice and fleas are treated as inconveniences, not emergencies. This is called rest. But sleep here does not restore the body. It suspends it. Muscles do not recover. The lungs do not clear. The immune system does not reset. The body simply remains upright long enough to reach morning. Every night follows the same pattern. People lie down exhausted. They breathe shared air. They absorb shared illness. They wait for daylight. Morning comes. They stand up. No one is restored. The night has not healed them. It has only preserved them just enough to be used again. Diseases spread easily in these crowded, poorly ventilated rooms. Respiratory illnesses linger. Skin infections pass from body to body. Sleep compounds weakness instead of repairing it. Authorities know this. Reports are written. Debates continue. But alternatives are scarce, and the flow of people does not stop. The city needs labor in the morning. These rooms make that possible barely. By dawn, the lodging house is empty. People step back onto the street carrying the night with them. They move. They work. They endure. And when evening returns, the cycle waits. Time here is not a healer. It is an extractor. Each night does not help them recover. It only allows them to survive long enough to be drained again. It is midnight in 1888. Dorset Street is short, barely 100 meters long, but densely packed with rented rooms and common lodging houses. By this point in the night, it holds one of the highest concentrations of transient residents in London. People pass through at all hours. Many are not known by name. Few remain long enough to be remembered. The street is poorly lit, closely enclosed, difficult to observe from the outside. At night, Dorset Street feels compressed. Light does not travel far. Doorways sit close together. Courts branch inward and disappear. Sounds carry strangely, then stop. The street does not feel empty. It feels withheld, as if it is keeping something to itself. Figures move quickly, staying near the walls. No one lingers. No one looks directly. Conversation is minimal. Movement is brief and careful. Not because violence is new here, but because attention is rare. By the autumn of 1888, the name Jack the Ripper has begun to circulate. His crimes are few compared to the scale of the city, but fear spreads faster than facts. Still, he is not the center of this street. What defines Dorset Street is not the presence of a killer, but the absence of interruption. Patrols are thin. Visibility is poor. Policing depends on discovery, not prevention. When something happens, it is often found later, sometimes hours later, after the street has already gone quiet again. No one arrives in time. No one sees clearly enough. No one is required to account for what went unnoticed. Authority reacts. It does not intervene. The fear here does not come from chaos. It comes from delay. The knife is not what unsettles this street. The space between the act and the response is. Dorset Street reveals how easily a person can vanish into the structure of the city. Even under scrutiny, violence here is not remarkable. What is remarkable is how long it can exist without interruption. By the time footsteps return and doors open, whatever happened has already finished. The street settles back into silence, ready to hold it again. Flower and Dean Street is already well known by the 1880s. Government inspectors, social reformers, and journalists repeatedly identify it as one of the poorest streets in London. The reason is not mystery. It is not crime. It is density. Lodging houses line the street. Single rooms are subdivided again and again. Families, single laborers, and children are pressed into spaces never designed to hold them. Every building is full. Many are overfull. During the day, the street does not feel chaotic. It feels compressed. People are everywhere, yet nothing moves quickly. There is no privacy and little quiet. Daily activities overlap: eating, resting, working, arguing, all within the same narrow space. Life here does not unfold in separate moments. It collapses into one continuous strain. This condition does not announce its consequences. Disease spreads easily when bodies are in constant contact. Respiratory illnesses persist. Chronic stress weakens judgment and immunity. Alcohol becomes common not as excess, but as relief. A way to dull fatigue, noise, and proximity. But the deeper damage is less visible. There is no space to withdraw. No place to think without interruption. No room for plans that extend beyond the next necessity. It is not that people do not dream. There is simply no place to hold those dreams. When everything happens in the same place, life loses its rhythm. There is no pause, no separation, no recovery. Only endurance without rest. Authorities are aware of Flower and Dean Street's condition. Reports are written. Inspections occur. Buildings are occasionally condemned. But removal creates displacement, not relief. Closing one house pushes people into the next street, already near its limit. Nothing dramatic needs to happen here for lives to shorten. The environment itself does the work. This is what collapse looks like when it happens slowly, in full view, with nowhere else to go. At dusk, the city opens briefly. Stone streets give way to water. Crowds thin. The river appears. This is the Thames. In 1888, it is not scenery. It is infrastructure. Every hour, it moves food, timber, coal, and goods through London. It also carries waste. Raw sewage still enters the river at multiple points. Industrial runoff flows downstream from factories upriver. Twice a day, the tide pulls contamination back into the city. What leaves does not always stay gone. Along the embankment and river stairs, safety is minimal. Lighting is poor. Barriers are rare. The waterline shifts constantly with the tide. Stone steps are slick. At night, depth is difficult to judge. A single misstep is enough. Cold water incapacitates quickly. Muscle control fails within minutes. The current takes over before panic has time to form. Many falls are unwitnessed. When they are seen, rescue depends on proximity, timing, and strength. Often, bodies are recovered later, far from where they entered the water. The river does not pause for this. For the city, the Thames is movement and disposal. For those who work beside it, dock laborers, boatmen, porters, it is routine. They operate close to the edge every day. Accidents are recorded, then absorbed into statistics. There is no mystery here, only volume. No single authority truly controls the river. Policing ends at the shore. Rescue infrastructure is thin. The priority is commerce, not protection. The Thames does not need neglect to be dangerous. It only needs to continue doing its job. It is not cruel. It is not kind. It simply continues. The streets weaken the body. Crowds grind it down. The river finishes what the city has already begun. It does not threaten you. It does not notice you. And when it is done, it carries on. Unchanged. Uninterrupted. Indifferent. After the river, the city closes in again. Open water gives way to stone walls. Movement slows. People gather without speaking, standing in short, uncertain lines. This is the workhouse. In 1888, workhouses operate under the Poor Law. They exist across London to provide relief for those who can no longer support themselves, but entry is conditional. Families are separated. Personal clothing is surrendered. Labor is assigned. Privacy ends at the door. None of this is unknown. Everyone understands what this place represents. That is why most people wait as long as they can. The entrance is orderly. Names are recorded. Ages are noted. Bodies are assessed against eligibility. The smell here is not decay, but discipline. Soap, damp stone, boiled food. Cleanliness is enforced, not offered. Choice is removed by design. People do not arrive here at their strongest. They come after the streets have weakened them, after poor food and broken sleep, after illness lingers, after work disappears. By the time they reach this gate, endurance is already spent. Conditions inside are intentionally harsh. This is not cruelty by neglect. It is discipline by policy. The system is designed to deter dependence, to make survival outside preferable for as long as possible. Relief is granted only once resistance has failed. The workhouse does not correct failure. It manages it. When you step inside, the city no longer asks what you need. It asks what remains. How long can you work? How much can you produce? How little can you be given? The workhouse does not appear dangerous. That is what makes it effective. It does not chase you. It does not threaten you. It waits. And when you finally enter, the city does not end your life. It takes what is left of it and decides how it will be used. This was London in 1888. Not a city of spectacle, but a city of pressure, where survival was slowly worn down by streets, food, sleep, crowds, fear, indifference, and control. There was no single moment of collapse. No clear line where life failed. Only accumulation. Step by step. Day by day. And then, one day, there was simply nothing left to give. When you take a clean breath today, pause for a moment. Remember that there was once a city where every breath carried risk, where air, water, work, and shelter quietly negotiated how long a body could last. The systems have changed. The streets look different. The danger no longer announces itself in the same way. But pressure has not disappeared. It has only learned to look ordinary. History is not distant. It is layered beneath the present, shaping what we expect, what we tolerate, and what we no longer notice. And as you move through your own city, breathing, walking, enduring, remember this: the past is not something we left behind. It is something we learned how to survive, and sometimes how to forget.